left off at the part where Ivan and Natalia are having a disagreement as to who actually owns the meadows. Ivan says that it is theirs, Natalia says that it belongs to them. And in the midst of all this, Natalia says, no, it isn't at all like that. Both grandfather and great-grandfather reckoned that their land extended to burnt marsh, which means that oxen meadows were ours. I don't see what there is to argue about. It's simply silly. To which Ivan says, I show you the documents, Natalia Stefanova. Now it is here that we notice the way they address each other is slowly taking a turn. Where before they were very polite to each other, calling each other my treasure, my dear, and now they are simply calling them by their names. Where Natalia says Ivan Vasilovich and Ivan in turn says Natalia Stefanovna. No, you are simply joking or making fun of me. What a surprise! We've had the land for nearly 300 years and then we were suddenly told that it isn't ours. Ivan Vasilovich, I can hardly believe my own ears. These meadows aren't worth much to me. They only come to 5 decents and are worth perhaps 300 rubles. But I can't stand unfairness. Say what you will, I can't stand unfairness. So Natalia says that this is not a matter of money, all right? This is not a very expensive land. It is a very small land and won't cost me more than 300 rubles. But the point here is having principles. I don't like people lying to me or trying to cheat me, and you are doing just that. Hear me out. I implore you, the peasants of your father's grandfather, as I have already had the honor of explaining to you, used to bake bricks for my aunt's grandmother. Now my aunt's grandmother, wishing to make them pleasant, so he is again trying to explain the same thing, all right? Please listen to me once. They used to bake bricks for my grandfather. So he is trying to explain again, please, all right, listen to me. They used to, my ancestors, they give this land to your grandfathers, laborers, to work on it in exchange for bricks. So he's repeating the same statement again, and Natalia says, I can't make head or tail of all this. About aunts and grandfathers and grandmothers. The meadows are ours, that's all. To which Ivan says, mine. And Natalia says, ours. You can go on proving it for 2 days on end. You can go on, put on 15 dress jackets. But I tell you, they are ours, ours, ours. I don't want anything of yours, and I don't want to give anything of mine. So, there. And Ivan says, Natalia Stefanovna, I don't want the meadows, but I am acting on principle. If you like, I'll make you a present of them. And Natalia says, I can make a present of them myself because they are mine. Your behavior, Ivan Vasilovich, is strange to say the least. Up to this, we have always thought of you as a good neighbor, a friend. Last year, we lent you our threshing machine. Although on that account, we had to put off our own threshing till November. But you behaved to us as if we are gypsies, giving me my own land. Indeed, no, really, that's not at all neighborly. In my opinion, it's even impudent if you want to know. And Ivan says, then you make out that I'm a land grabber. Madam, never in my life have I grabbed anybody else's land, and I shan't allow anybody to accuse me of having done so. He quickly steps out to the carafe and drinks some water. Oxen meadows are mine. And Natalia says, it's not true. They are ours. And Lomov says, mine. So, now the talk about proposing to each other about marriage has gone out of the window. Now this story has taken a different turn. Wherein Ivan tries to explain that my grand-aunt, your grandfather, I don't care anything about grandmother and grandfathers, all right? Let that thing be. The only thing true here is that this land is ours. And Ivan says, it's mine. And he said, please don't think that I am trying to cheat you out of your land. If you want, I'll give this land to you. And Natalia gets even more angry. She said, give it to me? Are you implying that you will give me something that already belongs to me? You can't do that. It is already mine, so you can't give it to me. I always thought that you were a gentleman. And you come here wearing a dress jacket, claiming this land is yours. You can wear 15 jackets at once, but it will not change the fact that the meadows belongs to us. And they keep on fighting, mine, 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 yours. And Natalia says, it's not true. I'll prove it. I'll send my mowers out to the meadow this very day. What? My mowers will be there this very day. I will give it to them in the neck. You dare. And Ivan says, oxen meadows are mine. You understand? Mine. And Natalia says, please don't shout. You can shout yourself hoarse in your own house. But here, I must ask you to restrain yourself. If it wasn't, madam, for this awful, excruciating palpitation, if my whole inside wasn't upset, I'd talk to you in a different way. And he yells, oxen meadows are mine. Ours, mine, then finally enters Chubukov. So there's no stopping, all right? They're blaming each other, or not exactly cheating, all right? They are not saying that you stole the land, but they're trying to convince each other that the land belongs to either one of them, all right? Ivan says it's mine, Natalia says it's hers, and there is no ending to it. Mine, our, and finally Natalia's father enters the scene. And the father says, what's the matter? What are you shouting for? And Natalia says, Papa, please tell this gentleman who owns oxen meadows, we or he. And father says to Lomov, all right, he turns to Lomov, and he has just entered the scene. He's not aware that the fight had been going on. So he is polite. He turns to Ivan and he says, darling, the meadows are ours. And Ivan says, but please, Stefan Stefanovich, how can they be yours? Do be a reasonable man. My aunt's grandmother gave the meadows to the temporary and free use to your grandfather's peasants. The peasants used the land for 40 years and got accustomed to it as if it was their own. And when it happened that, so again he's going the same thing. My aunt's grandmother gave it to your grandfather to use, and the condition was that they would bake bricks for them. And after 40 years, everyone thought that the meadows belong to you, but it actually belongs to us. So the same thing. And Chubukov says, excuse me, my precious. So the words he's using is still very loving towards Ivan. He says, excuse me, my precious. You forget just this, that the peasants didn't pay your grandfather and all that, because the meadows were in dispute, and so on. And now everyone knows that they're ours. It means you haven't even seen the plan. I'll prove to you that they are mine. You won't prove it, my darling. says that this land is nothing, all right? I will give this land away to the peasants because that land belongs to me. And Ivan says, how can you give this land away? Even if this land is nothing, I know that this land is not valuable, but still it is my land. So how can you give my land to somebody else? And then even Chubukov starts losing his patience. He says that, young man, you are half my age, all right? And you don't have the right to speak to me in such a rude tone. I ask you not to be rude. I am talking to you politely, and you should do the same. And Ivan says that you are a land grabber. You are a cheat. You are trying to cheat me out of my own land. And Chubukov, when Ivan says that you are a land grabber, Chubukov says, what's that? What did you say? And Natalia says, Papa, send the mowers out to meadows at once. What did you say? Sir, oxen meadows are ours, and I shan't give them up. Shan't give them up, shan't give them up. Well, we will see. I'll have the matter taken to court, and then I will show you. To court? You can't just take it to court and all that. You can. I know you. You are just on the lookout for a chance to go to court and all that. You pettifogger. All your people were like that. All of them. So now they are dragging in other members of the family. When Ivan says, I'll take you to court. And Chubukov says, fine, you can. I'm sure you want to take us to court because you just want to cheat us. You want to rob us out of your land. And not just you, your whole family was like that. So now they are dragging each other's family. And Ivan says, never mind about my people. The Lomovs have all been honorable people, and not one has ever been tried for embezzlement like your grandfather. So he says, don't worry about my family, all right? The Lomovs are always respectable. Unlike your grandfather, who was tried by the law for embezzlement, meaning for cheating, for forgery. And Chubukov says, you Lomovs have had lunacy in your family, all of you. And Natalia adds, all. And Chubukov says, your grandfather was a drunkard, and your younger aunt, Nastasia Milhenova, ran away with an architect, and so on. And Ivan says, and your mother was humpback. So now they are cursing each other's family member, calling each. And as he is saying that, you know that Ivan suffers from palpitations. So he just had an attack of palpitation and he grabs his heart. He clutches at his heart. He can't fight anymore. He says, something pulling to my side, my head, help, water. And your father was a guzzling gambler. And there haven't been many backbiters to equal your aunt. My left foot has gone to sleep. You are an intriguer, oh my heart. And it is an open secret that before the last election, I can see stars. Where's my hat? It's low. It's dishonest, it's mean. And you are a malicious, double-faced intriguer. Here's my hat, my heart. Which way? Where's the door? Oh, I think I'm dying. My foot's quite numb. So now he wants to leave, all right? He's having an attack. He's having feeling a pull at his side. His heartbeat's going faster. His palpitations are getting stronger. So he says, help, water. In the meantime, Chubukov and Natalia, they're still cursing at him. And he goes to the door, all right? His foot is numb. He goes to the door. And following him, and don't you set foot in my house again. So Ivan left because he was having palpitations attack and he couldn't continue the fight anymore. So he says, don't you set foot in my house again. Take it to court. We will see. Lomov staggers out. So he couldn't even walk properly. He staggers out. And Chubukov says, devil take him. Walks about in excitement. What a rascal! What trust can one have in one's neighbors after all? The villain, the scarecrow, the monster. First he takes our land and then he has the impudence to abuse us. So Natalia is still unaware that Ivan was actually there to propose to her. And finally Chubukov says, And that blind hen, that turnip ghost, has the confounded cheek to make a proposal and so on. What a proposal! What proposal? So when he mentions that he was actually here to make a proposal, Natalia is taken aback. She said, what proposal? Why? He came here to propose to you. And Natalia is shocked. To propose? To me? Why didn't you tell me so before? So he dresses up in his evening clothes, the stuffed sausage, the wizen-faced from... So Chubakov is still angry at Ivan. He's still calling him names, all right? He's calling him a ghost, a turnip, a cheat, a thug. While Natalia is pleasantly surprised that he was actually there to propose to her. So we will stop here and continue later on, all right?